All right. One of the things that you're going to hear a lot of people talking about. What? What are you doing? Oh, action. Yeah, lights, camera, action. All right. One of the things that you're going to be hearing a lot about will be a phrase called entering the conversation. All right. We'll be talking about how you enter the conversation with these sources. Well, you can't enter a conversation with a source because it's not talking to you. But here's what you got to do. Use your imagination for just a moment. Imagine with me, if you will, that you're sitting around on your lanai out by the pool, enjoying a cool beverage on a hot summer evening. Iced tea or Kool-Aid or something like that, of course. You are teenagers, right? So, all right. So you're out here sitting around having this conversation. There are no cell phones in sight. All the cell phones are turned off or stacked up on the table like you do, on the restaurant game. Y'all play the restaurant game, right? You need to learn it. It's what old people like us do. But my bunch of people that we ride motorcycles with, we get out and we stop and eat. Everybody's cell phone's turned off and put face down on the table. Put on silent and put face down on the table. And if anybody checks their phone until everybody's finished eating and ready to leave, whoever checks their phone has to pay for the meals for everybody else at the table. Because we're there to have conversation, not play on phones. And if that's too much for you, fine, go eat somewhere else. Anyway, we talk about having a conversation with these sources. So imagine you're at this party, you're sitting around, and the writers of each of these sources is sitting there at the table. And they're discussing banning the penny. Why? Because they're nerds and geeks and old people, and that's what they do. And we talk about silly stuff like that. When we're out having a nice cool drink on the lanai by the pool. All right? Anyway, so they're sitting around talking. Now, if you and your friends are having a conversation, do you take turns and say, okay, I'm going to talk first. I believe we should ban the penny, and here's why, blah, 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 blah. And then the next person says, well, I think we shouldn't ban the penny, and here's why, blah, blah. No, it doesn't work that way. When you're having a conversation, this person says something, then this person kind of reacts to what that person said, which leads another person to get into the conversation, and will usually say what he or she thinks, and tie it to what this person or that person has said. They bring in, well, you said this, and I agree with you on that point. However, when you said that, I believe it. You see what I'm getting at? That's how a conversation works. That's what we have to learn to do, metaphorically, if you will, with the sources, with the writers of the sources. Imagine we're all sitting around the table having this conversation on whether or not we should ban the penny. And what you have in your sources is what each one of those people would say. Okay? And when you read the sources, when you read the rest of them, you're going to see that sometimes people even contradict themselves. Well, we would never do that, would we? Yeah, of course we do. All right? And sometimes they will talk about the good and the bad, which we're going to do. But think of it as an imaginary conversation with the people. Okay? You would kind of work your way into the conversation. You wouldn't just open the door and run in and sit down and say, here's what I think, blah, 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 blah. You come in, you sit down, you kind of listen. You might comment on what this person has said. You might comment on what that person has said. And then work into what you believe about it. Okay? That's what it means to have a conversation with the sources. When I read your synthesis essay, I hope to be reading it in such a way that I know what you think. I know what your argument is. Your argument is central, right? It's clear, it's plain, and I know it's your argument, and you're giving your own reasons, but you're also bringing into it what other people have said, and you're talking about how what they've said helps your argument. Sometimes you help your argument by showing why what the other person said is wrong. But you're still having that conversation with them, right? Sometimes you're helping your argument by saying, look, this person agrees with me. Or this person agrees with this part of what I'm saying. Maybe not with everything, but with this other. And here's what they said. Making sense now? That's a conversation. Some of your eyes are lighting up. You're like, okay, I'm getting it now. That's what we're working toward, folks, in the end. Is I want to read your essay as if I'm reading a conversation, as if I'm just sitting back to the side, watching you all discuss whether or not to ban the penny. Okay? That's what I want to read. So think of it in that way. Okay? Any burning questions for me on that part before I turn this off? All right, we're good.